There's a way that seems right to man, but in the end, it leads to death. What if we considered that to be true? How terrifying might it be? There's a way that seems right to man, but in the end, it leads to death. Proverbs 14:12. That's what I want to talk about. So Proverbs 14:12, that's what I want to talk about today. And I want to start with a kind of funny story that happened when we were on vacation with my family in Chicago. So we go on these massive vacations. We have 34 people who went, and we're all related on my dad's side of the family. It's kind of complex, but we're all related somehow in there. And it's an amazing family. We all get along super well. We've done a trip like this like 4 times. We're not probably doing it anymore, but it was so cool to get to grow up and do a trip like that with all my cousins and stuff. But we were in the middle of downtown Chicago, and we were staying there for 2 days and then going back on a train, as we had driven there. I think we like Ubered there or something like that, or taxied. I don't know if they had Uber at that point, but we had to get back to this train station by like 6:50 or something, and it was about in an hour and a half or something. And we had to make this whole long walk across Chicago, or else the train, like the last time it left, was at whenever, 6:50, we'll just say it was that. So we're trying to get across and make sure that we go the right way. And we get to this bridge, and we're currently like on the lower end of the bridge. And there's a road that continues through and as a tunnel, and then there's a bridge on the top. And so my dad tells my brother to go up and check if we could go over the bridge and if it was fine. And so he runs all the way up the stairs. It was a pretty tall bridge. I don't know exactly how tall, but like 20-30 feet up. At least that's how I remember it. But he gets up there, looks at it, comes back down and says, yeah, let's go, that's the way. It looks good. And my dad says, well, let's just keep going straight and go through the bridge. And so we start going through, and all of a sudden we just start seeing like luggage and stuff, and then we see tents, and we're like, what is going on? And there were just tons of people living in the bridge, and it was definitely an interesting experience, just seeing how different that part of Chicago was from all the nice places that we had seen. And it was a good reminder that not everything is perfect, but not necessarily the best situation that we wanted my younger sister and stuff in. And so I think that kind of just relates, I guess, going back, we all got out, like it wasn't that dangerous of a situation. There was somebody down there washing the roads, and there were cars driving by, but it was definitely a situation that we'll always remember as a family, and just kind of think about as a bad situation that happened. And I think it kind of relates to our passage. So there was a way that seemed right, that maybe it was just we needed to get back to the train, and so we just should just keep going, and straight was the best way, and it seemed right. No problems, like, makes sense. But it turns out that we aren't always all-knowing, and so sometimes we take the wrong path. We should have gone up and just went over the bridge, but we couldn't really see both places and know exactly how both of them would go. So I think we do that in our life sometimes. How many times have we just thought something was the right decision, and it turned out to be wrong. I mean, I was thinking about this. How many times have you just spent too much time watching Netflix? How much time have you just spent using Instagram, and you get to the end of it and you're just like, I shouldn't have spent that much time watching Netflix. And it's not a big deal. Nobody died. Nobody is seriously injured or going to jail or breaking the law. But there was just a way that seemed right to us. And it turned out, when we see it in our perspective after the incident, we realize it wasn't. And so if we can see with our eyes when we just like look back on a situation and we can already see ways that we failed, how much more would a God who's all-knowing and who defines what is right and what is wrong and what is good and what is bad, how much more could he see things that we are doing wrong and that are actually leading us into death? And so it sounds super dramatic that we're talking about death, right? But we'll kind of talk about this later, I'm sure, in another video, but sin's penalty is death. And so what we deserve when we do something that is wrong, that is not the right way, it leads to us dying, and not just dying physically, but also dying with an eternity in hell. And so that is pretty devastating, right? But the interesting thing is that God made a way for that not to be the end of the story. Because in my case, at least, I know that my sin and the ways that I have taken that seem right, that God has said, no, actually, the other way was right. Or not necessarily, there's always one or the other, but there was a different way that was right, and you chose the wrong one. Those will lead to my physical death, but they will not lead to me being in hell forever. What the death that they actually led to was Jesus' death on the cross. And so when that happened, he took that death from me so I can live with him forever. So that's what we got from Proverbs 14:12. If you want to leave a comment or a question, I'd love to try to answer those in the comments or in another video. And thank you for watching. Hopefully I'll be on soon. I need to stop saying